This week on Not Just Another Sex Podcast.
There were things that I did because I was testing myself. I was like talking a lot of shit. I'm like, me and Erica in the beginning of our podcast were like, yeah, we're into open relationships, polyamory. And then I had to be like, bitch.
I lied.
Yeah. But it required that I explored those places with someone that I loved in order to come to that conclusion.
Hey, sugar. I feel like there are so many different things that I need to learn as an adult. I'm this nasty on a regular day, like on a Tuesday.
I am your host, Samaya Burton, and don't worry, it's not just another sex podcast. Hey, you guys, welcome back to Not Just Another Sex Podcast. My name is Samaya, and I'm your host for today, and we have an amazing episode for you. But before we get into that, we are going to read some of these reviews. This one says, Callie Skits, and it's from August, so it's recent. We say, hey, friend, I've been listening to your podcast since you dropped the first episode. I've watched and listened to you on other episodes. I found other people in the industry based off being on your podcast. I appreciate a space where it tells us how to communicate when we don't necessarily feel sexually satisfied or when we want to try new things. Baby, this communicating in a way that builds him up has been a game changer. Thanks for putting me on to others in the podcast space. I have new friends to listen to. You are absolutely welcome. Oh my gosh. I got somebody else for you to meet though today, girl, because we got a guest from an amazing podcast, Good Moms, Bad Choices. We have one of two, Miss Milah here. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey. I'm so excited. Do you feel different when y'all show up to like episodes by yourself, or do y'all even do it often?
We rarely do it. It does feel really strange.
It's so crazy because even with cocktails, we pulled them apart and do one. I love pulling the people apart because we go to y'all for different things.
That's true.
Who you guys are all together is one, and different energies. So I'm super excited to have you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for leaving this review, Miss Ma'am. You guys, please don't forget that it takes a second to just rate and review the podcast. These shows are absolutely free to you all, but it is not free to the podcasters. So just leaving a review, telling somebody, sharing like, hey, this was an amazing episode. Check this out. It goes much farther than you think. So thank you guys so much for doing that. All right, we're going to go through my show today.
Okay.
You've been here before. You guys came out with a book. We're going to get into it in a second, but Milah is one half of the Good Moms, Bad Choices podcast. She is an author. She is a retreat leader. She is a studio owner. She is a mother. She is a bad bitch.
Hey.
She is everything. So I'm just really excited to have you here, and it's just nostalgic. It's a full circle moment. So on our show, we do the adult tip of the day to start. It is like a little 5-minute, put something in your pocket for adulting to make it a little easier, whether that's like a My Therapist Says or like get you a house cleaner. It's just like one little tip that can make adulting a little bit easier, because one day you look up and you like, wait, I'm the grown up in the room? Like if someone passed out, y'all would look at me to do something.
Every day, I think I'm the grown-up in the room.
It's crazy.
Most of the time you go on podcasts and they like warn you and they're going to ask you like for particular advice.
Oh, no, I'm going to give it to you.
So
I got you.
Oh, you have it. Okay.
I got you. I got you. I just was like, let me take her on. You're my roadie today.
Yeah,
like,
I'm here for it.
Yeah. What's it called? You're my ride-along.
I'm here for it.
For the episode. You seem like a ride or die ass bitch.
I am. I'm like, we're going where? We're going to Alabama. All right, whatever.
See, there you go. See, just buckle up. We're going to go. All right. So the adult tip of the day is somatic movement to relieve tension. And I thought this was a great adult tip of the day because ever since I have known you, you have always been swaying your hips, moving around, always riding to the beat of life. Like literally, if you guys see Milah anywhere, she is dancing. Like, think belly dancer meets, but throw that ass. Like belly dancer, but throw that ass. And there's like a real term for that. And it's like somatic movement. And I'm going to drop a clip below of Milah moving for y'all. But it's really central when you do it. And I told you, I was like, you need to teach a class. Like, this is so cute. But just from just researching how to, not let our bodies get old as shit and stiff. I had came across fascia release. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but fascia release and tension release. And so basically, we get a lot of energy stuck in certain parts of our bodies. And so our throat and our root chakra, where your genitals and things like that is where we have a lot of stored tension. And so just moving around, just shaking your body and things like that, it does more than you think. And I I don't even think we realize it until we do it.
I mean, I think we're living in a world, the Western world is very based on like our medicine, our healing is mostly based in the physical. And the truth is like our energetic body rules our physical body. And so there's a lot of trauma, there's blocks, energetic blocks that a lot of us have that we don't even recognize because subconsciously things happen. You are born into a world where you're born into trauma a lot of times.
You come right out of a tiny asshole.
You come right out of a tiny asshole. You're inheriting trauma from, generations behind you. A lot of little boys are getting circumcised as soon as they come out of the womb. And this is, people don't recognize it as trauma, but a lot of trauma is stored in our bodies. And it's like from small things to big things. Like I'm in tantra school right now. So, I've always been a dancer. I like to dance. I like to move my body, but I'm now learning more of the science behind the release. And so, moving your hips, like there's a lot of energy stored in your sex chakra. Yeah. Sometimes it's trauma. Sometimes it's things we're not even aware of. And so moving it releases those blocks. And it's like, it's medicine for your body. It's not just like, going to the doctor and getting a prescription, but it's basic shit, like moving your hips.
And that's the stuff that we skip.
Yeah.
And we skip it. It's like literally available at your fingertips. It's actual medicine, but it takes like 5 minutes and we don't do it. And I'm not saying I'm any better. I don't do it. That's why I love whenever I see you because it reminds me to move. It does. There's also like, even if it doesn't strike your interest to move just to relieve stress or whatever, you're like, okay, I hear you. It also works on your coochie, y'all. So like hip and yoni, sometimes you got to throw a little sex in there. They're like, okay, now hold on, now I'm listening. And that's okay. Whatever it is that convicts you to try something different that's better for you. Hip and yoni activation movements also help with a lot of women. Like the pussy needs to be warmed up first. And like, the 18 to 40 minutes thing is real, but there are other things you can do to help speed that up. And hip and yoni activation movements, it's like a 4-part class thing on our Patreon. And it talks about like just different movements to get the blood like circulating in that area. And I've seen you do some of those things just like at the retreats and stuff like that. So that's the adult tip of the day. Move around. And if you're embarrassed about how you look, this is not just a woman's thing. It's for everybody. Just do it when no one else is around. Turn on some music and dance that shit out. Like, for real.
I mean, I think, especially like black men or men in general have like, get weird about moving their hips. They're supposed to be like masculine all the time and shit. But it's like, you storing some energy in that groin too, nigga. You need to move it out. And it's necessary. I'm in school with a guy, shout out to Mike. And we have to practice pelvic movements. And he said his granny walked in on him doing some hip thrust. And she was like, what the hell are you doing, Mike? And he was like, damn, Granny, I'm just trying to, but everything, some tension. But it's so much stigma around it, especially for men, but it's necessary and it's healthy and it's a mood enhancer. And like, it kind of helps you turn on yourself on. Like you don't even have to necessarily need a partner. It could be nice for a partner, but it's also nice for like mirror work too.
Absolutely. So y'all know arousal is nothing more than blood flow. Like moving to certain areas. So things that help get your blood moving, sometimes that's intellectual, sometimes it's just the movement in your body. But even to your point about the men, I don't know if you've seen that John Travolta clip and he's like thrusting in his aerobics clothes. It's like, it was used for like a meme or something, but it was so crazy because it's like, that's the stuff that men be like, oh, that's gay.
Everything's gay.
Everything's gay. But outside of that, I'm like, what are you talking about? Because if you look at like Caribbean men.
Right, exactly.
The insides of us are curved. So if y'all learn to wind them hips while you digging in our, you know what? But if you don't want to listen, you don't want to listen. We're just trying to give you the cheat codes here, okay? So that's our adult tip for today. We just help somebody adult a little bit better in 5 minutes. That's what we're doing.
Easy peasy.
It's October, so seeing something scary isn't surprising unless it's in the bedroom. Indulgere Condoms wants to encourage you to think like a queen and be prepared with your own protection. There is nothing scarier than not being prepared and losing the mood. Sometimes a partner can forget to grab what's needed, but Indulgere offers a variety of quality, multi-size condoms in one pack and in adorable packaging to encourage you to be the queen that you are and be in control of your own safety. Check out this woman-owned condom brand below by clicking the link or check them out at www.indulgere.co. This brand supports safety across the board. So if you have an event that they should be at, be sure to email them and invite them to your event. You can reach them at queens@indulgere.co. All right, now back to the show.
Our next stop on our ride along today is we stopping at Twitter Talk. So Twitter Talk is just a segment that we do where we pay homage to Black Twitter because almost everything has involved Black Twitter. Even if it was lame, it got turned up. If there was even something serious, jokes came from it. All the controversial stuff, but also like cool facts or whatever. So we just call it Twitter Talk. Today's Twitter Talk is about unconventional relationships and just the thought of a lot of people think that like, oh, you're in an unconventional relationship and they're only pointing towards like non-monogamy. They think that, oh, you're not monogamous, so you're unconventional or you're really a wild child. But we don't realize how many of us are actually in unconventional relationships because conventional is more so what has always been done. And I think that it's something that makes people defensive and uncomfortable. But I think truth is that it's a great thing that we're unconventional because we are co-parenting. We are leaving relationships that aren't the healthiest. We are creating our own rules and boundaries and things like that. And you came to mind with this one. So each episode, of course, we just want to curate it around the person because you're a star today. You're here.
Oh, well, thanks.
You start every day, but you just start on my show today. And so I think of course, you and your love Orlando and how you guys are monogamous, right? Mm-hmm. But you guys, of course, very unconventional. And I just wanted to see if we could name some examples to give people an idea to understand that, damn, maybe I am unconventional and you don't even know it. Like you're trying to resist it, but it's like, bro, you are unconventional because you are talking to your kids about sex. You are talking about, stuff like that. Your gentle parenting. Hell, gentle parenting make you unconventional as fuck.
Right. Because then we all both know it wasn't so gentle growing up.
It was not getting hit with anything that's there. So co-parenting is an example of a non-conventional relationship because technically we're raised on two parents' households. So if you have a blended family or anything, that's a form of unconventional. Do you have one?
I do.
Okay.
I do have a blended family. I think you're like to your point, yeah, everything is unconventional, especially like a lot of us haven't had healthy examples of relationships. Mm. And so hopefully if you haven't had that, like you're trying to do it differently. And so, I mean, I grew up in a household with both of my parents, but I'm creating a household where my daughter is, not biologically my boyfriend's daughter, but like it's his kid too, because we live together, we're a family, and a lot of the responsibility is shared responsibility, and he takes that role pretty seriously. So
that's hot.
It is hot. At first it made me uncomfortable because I was like, relax.
This is my kid. Relax.
Yeah. Well, I think there's like a stigma behind like you can't just come in and make these statements like that, my daughter, just because there's fear around like, are you going to stick around? Because these are big commitments, especially when you're involving a child. But no, it's been great. Like it's been, it's not always smooth because there's an adjustment period. My kid has known him since she was like 5. She's almost 9. So, I mean, they're definitely familiar with each other and they're definitely,
Oh, Erica's here. Who came to support? If y'all watching on YouTube, it's a real show made by real people. Make sure y'all check the link below.
I know, and it's like raining here. This is feeling very fireside
vibe.
Chat. It's
First
very
of all,
intimate.
Milah said that this was like an Oprah show.
That's what I feel like. I feel like I'm on Oprah. I'm like, is this my Oprah exclusive? Remember when Corinne Steffens did that Oprah exclusive?
Shut up. She did that on Oprah?
She did.
I have her book in there. It's all right. We talk about it afterwards. All right.
But yeah, it's unconventional just in the idea that it is a blended family and I'm learning as I go. It's not some shit I have any fucking rule book to. Neither does he. So, there's times where, the kid is going to be a kid. It's like, you ain't my daddy. I'm like, you're so predictable. Duh, we know, but
get another line.
Yeah, literally get another
original.
Exactly.
BDSM is another form of like something unconventional in your relationship. If you guys do power play exchanges or role play of some sort.
I do a lot of role play in my relationship.
I think that makes you very unconventional.
Does it? Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know if that was that.
I don't know. Are y'all role playing in your relationship? Please let us know in the comments because I love that for y'all if y'all are. But, I just wanted to tap in to let you guys know that most likely your relationship is unconventional if you're trying to do it differently than how you were raised. Because the conventional thing doesn't necessarily mean that it was healthy. Conventional does not is not synonymous to healthy. So if you have an unconventional relationship, embrace it and figure out what is unconventional about it. But yeah, that's all Let's What Talk for today. All right. So we can get into you.
Oh, okay.
Got you. I'm so excited.
I'm nervous.
I'm a little nervous too, but I was like, damn, is it just because I'm hungry?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was nervous.
Why are you nervous? Bitch, you did
I'm kind of hungry.
Okay.
So I was like the legittest. I was like, oh, did she make me nervous? But no, bitch, you're hungry.
I make you nervous.
Well, it's just a lot of bad bitch in front of me.
I know.
Yes. Okay.
A lot of ass and titties.
It's a lot. Y'all, she was on here talking about getting new titties earlier, and everybody had to shut her down. Like, please stop talking to us.
Don't tell my business.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
She got this whole damn show. So you've come out with a book. You are and I think that you have an unconventional relationship in a multitude of ways, because you and Erica, if you guys are not familiar, if you're living under a rock, Milah is one of the hosts of Good Moms, Bad Choices. Their links will be below. They do have a book, they have a podcast, they have episodes, all that will be below. But you and your co-host call each other wives. And so give me more information about that, because I know a lot of people are always like, are they gay? Like, they'll be like, you know them, right? Like, are they gay? I'm like, no, are they? Like, I mean, they might
Not
eat
are they,
coochie.
bitch?
Like, what do you
friend?
mean? Like, are they together? Like, no, they're not together. They're life partners, but it's, here's a chance for us to kind of just explain for other people.
I realize calling her my wife doesn't really help the rumor, but I'm like, can you get my wife some coffee? No, we are wives. We're co-parents. We're partners. We're life partners. I feel like I think a lot of times people reserve soulmate for romantic relationships, but I think they're for platonic relationships too. So she's one of my soulmates, and I feel very much that our friendship was divine, and like this creation that we created, like this book, this podcast, the many businesses that we've created are like
so many
manifestations of our love and the divine partnership that we just we found when we found each other. So when we found each other, we were both like newly single moms. We were the only friends who had kids, and we were like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? And we were like each other's only reference point. And so that was kind of our saving grace, and the reason why we started our podcast, because, we were experiencing things that we were feeling alone. Motherhood could be really lonely, and you feel like you're supposed to know everything. You feel like it's supposed to be perfect. And like, if the relationship doesn't work out, then you feel disappointed. And especially as a Black mom, it's like, you don't want to be a single Black mom.
You don't want to be a baby mama.
You don't want to be a baby mama. And so a lot of women, stay in relationships for far too long, thinking like that's the only way. And that's the way you win. But honestly, leaving my child's father and finding Erica was the way that I won, and we take our kids on vacation together. They're in soccer together,
it is another unconventional relationship for you.
Absolutely. And it's the best. I have a wife and a husband.
I love that for you. It's the greedy bitch energy for me.
Yeah, I'm a greedy bitch.
All of it. And honestly, that's the thing. I think that because there is no quote unquote sex involved, people are like, well, how is that your wife? Romantic relationships don't even have to involve sex. There are a number of sexless relationships, because that's not always guaranteed that you're always going to want to have intercourse with the person that you're with. So like you said, it's not always romantic.
It's not romantic, but it can be intimate. It can be sensual.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're doing a lot of deep staring into each other's eyes and long hugs and shit. But it's true. Like, this is one of the friendships that reminded me. I think sometimes when we have long-term friendships, you kind of get so used to them. You're like, whatever, I love you, bitch. And you forget to be intimate in ways, and you forget to like look at each other in the eyes and be like, are you okay?
And be intentional.
And cuddle and hug and like really, just those little parts can make a difference when, like touching is a big, like stress reliever, and it's like an intimate act, and it's not necessarily sexual.
Are you guys both touchy people?
No, Erica's not really.
All right. That's always one. I'm the one in the most relationships where I'm not the touchy one.
Really? Because I feel like you like want to cuddle and shit.
No, I think that's because I love dick and sex and coochie and all the juices that people are like, oh, she's a touchy person. I am an intimate person and I am a sexual person, but when it comes to touching, it actually creeps me out. And so I've been working on it though, because I realized that, like you said, like being more intentional with my friendships, they need different things. And so I do feel like I'm going through something similar especially like with the group of people I work with that have become friends and family. You know how intimate I am, period. I really don't have anybody in my life that I can't be close to.
Right.
It's either it's black and white and it's just work or whatever, or either you're going to become family. But I realized that they needed to be touched.
Yes.
Like they needed to be held.
Yeah.
Like they actually needed to cuddle.
Yeah.
And I was like, the fuck?
Yeah.
Like that ain't even in the contract of friendship. Like, why do I have to do that? And I always thought that it was an imaginary boundary in my head, thinking like, oh, well, you shouldn't touch people like that.
Why? Why do you think that was?
There's so many things I'm unlearning from my parents, and they just used to over sexualize everything when it came to friends, especially because some of my closest friends at that time were guys. And so they were just always like, are you having sex with them? Are you having sex with them? And then flip it around. I did end up, having my first sexual experience with one of those friends, but more so because everybody else was talking about how terrible it was.
Right.
So I asked him, I was like, well, I don't want my first time to be terrible.
Right.
I'm already, we already running into kid toucher shit. Like that's already bad enough. Like this I can control. And so people didn't understand it then, but I was just like, this was done with love and care. So I always battled with unlearning certain things and, like we said, being more free and stuff like that. But what are some ways, do you feel like you were good at relationships before Erica?
At like my friendships?
Just relationships, period.
I'm the type of person, I have a lot of long-term friends, but this relationship definitely, I've learned a lot. I think sometimes when you're, like I said, you've been friends with people for so long, you just kind of go into like autopilot, Yeah. So having, finding a new friend in adulthood and, starting a business together required that we be super intentional. And then, it shed light on ways in which I wasn't being intentional with like friends I had been friends with for so long, just because we had been friends for so long. So I think I've definitely become a more aware, self-aware human and better friend and better relationship person because of this relationship. Absolutely.
I don't think that I am good at relationships, and I'm trying to make sure I say it correctly, because I'm not like projecting it on my life. I don't think that in the past I have been very good with relationships. I think that some of that is stem from just the lack of boundaries my parents had and some of the unlearning and just being raised around the wrong things. Right. But my friendships, I've learned, have made me better at relationships. And I like that. Like,
that's the goal, right? Like if it's not evolving me, if I'm not unlearning shit to be better, then like what the fuck is the point?
But that's the thing, embracing, and that's what this episode is around, embracing the unconventionalness of your relationships so they can be real and that you can be present and use. Everything is like flickering. It's like sexy and moody.
It's very sexy in here. I'm like, you're trying to seduce me.
This right? Maybe. Drink up. Did you finish your drink? Good. Okay. It's just water, y'all. Relax. But I will say that loving my friends, like you said, in a more intentional way, has done something for me. It's made me realize, one, I'm harder on myself than anybody else. Mm-hmm. There are ways that I talk to myself or used to talk to myself, and I'd be like, I would never talk to my friend like that.
Right.
I literally don't think anything different of them. And it's just like, oh, damn, are you okay? Like, I know why can't I do that to me? Mm-hmm. Right. And literally using the stuff that I learned just from gentle parenting, using that on your friends and things like that, and even letting it show up in love. I think that one of the reasons that it's been difficult is because when we were raised, a lot of our parents did not encourage their spouse to have relationships with other people. We would see them be with their partner and then that was it. Or it's like, oh, you ain't making no new friends, or like, especially of the opposite sex and things like that. So technically this is all new. The way that I see our generation or us, like the way we are with friendships is very beautiful. Like, I think it really helps with that possession thing that we have going on, and also not centering our romantic relationship at the core of our life. I think when we do that, it usually goes left.
For sure. No one person can be the eco center of your whole life. That's too much responsibility. And like, who can maintain that? It's not maintainable.
Not at all.
At all. Like, even I saw my parents act fucking nuts growing up. Like, my mom was so jealous. I mean, probably for good reason, whatever. But I was just like, I made it a point. I was like, I'm never going to be like this bitch. This is crazy, but like literally we could go in the drive-thru and he'd be like, "Thank you, darling." She's like, "Who the fuck is that bitch?" I'm like,
darling?
"That is the bitch from the takeout." You know, so I was like really mindful not to be that way. But I think being so anti being that way, I kind of ignored my own jealousy because a bitch is jealous. And I was like, I'm free. I don't care. I'm like, bitch, you care. So yeah, it is like relearning boundaries and relearning like what's okay and what's not okay. And then even questioning like, why do I feel that way? Where did that stem from?
Yeah. So kind of like shifting a little bit with talking about like jealousy and even you know, saying that your relationship with your love, with your male partner is unconventional, but it is monogamous. I would like you to talk to that point about just realizing that, damn, I am free, but also I don't want to share you in that way. But yet you guys are still mad unconventional. What do you think are the things that contribute to that encourage that? So I know like, and just for example, so you know which way this, because that could go like 1,000 ways. You being able to experience pet play with him or being able to explore the sex work and things like that. And even at one point, I don't know if he still has his OnlyFans, but even having that, like what are some things that you realize it wasn't, this didn't make me jealous. Technically, this wasn't sharing him. You know what I mean? It's more so freedom than jealousy.
We've gone through a lot of stages of our relationship, and like I met him podcasting, and I think within like the first 5 minutes, like he sent us a picture of his dick, and we flashed our titties, so it was kind of like it began very unconventional. And like again, when I met him, he was having OnlyFans. I think he still has one. I don't really know, but
I think when y'all met, and he was exploring polyamory too. Yeah,
yeah, he's been exploring a lot of shit over there, and like. I think a lot, I had to come to the conclusion that there were things that I did because I was testing myself. I was like talking a lot of shit. I'm like, me and Erica in the beginning of our podcast, we're like, yeah, we're into open relationships, polyamory. And then I had to be like, bitch.
I lied.
Yeah. But it required that I explored those places with someone that I loved in order to come to that conclusion. And we were non-monogamous, and, you know, we were on different coasts, and I was having sex with other people, and so was he. And then he was, you know, had relationships with other people, like probably not on the level of our relationship, but I was fine with it. And I, you know what, I think what it really helped me, it helped me develop my inner voice. So I would get off the phone, he'd be like, oh, I had sex with this person. And like my visceral reaction was like, to, you know, that feeling in your gut that like you've been cheated on, or, but I had to really have an internal conversation like, okay, well, he told you. What are you mad about? And does this make you not want to love this person anymore? And do you want them not to be in your life anymore because of this? And every time the answer was no. You know? And so it really required that I move through my feelings and then get to the next part, which was like, do I love that? Maybe not, but like, do I understand it? Yeah. And a part of it is also is like, I'm a free bitch, and I also don't want to be told what to do. So if I want someone who's going to accept those parts of me, I also have to accept it and also like be brutally honest. And so I think, you know, playing in that realm was good for me, but also it was a lesson that like, bitch, you are very jealous. Yeah. And as our relationship, you know, kind of developed and evolved, and got more serious, and there was like more feelings involved, there were things that I was just like, I think men are slow a little bit too, and it's just like it's true. Like I think like men, like Orlando's a very nice guy, you know, like he's just at his core.
He's very pleasant.
He's a very pleasant guy. Yeah. And it's like, if you, not that like you're supposed to go around and treat women terribly. Like I wouldn't want my man to treat any woman terribly. No, like if they're fucking, if they're like whatever, dating, like you're a representation of me.
And we respect women around here.
Respect women around here. But there's also a level of intimacy that I think I want exclusively for me. And so there were things that I would like, it would be the dumbest shit. Like he could fuck other people, but then I would hear him on the, like, he would literally call me like, oh, so-and-so's over. And I'd be like, okay. He's like, oh, I'm about to run her a bath. And I'm like, I don't like that. Actually, it's over. I'm like, you know, you're fucking these bitches. That's fine. But like, I don't like that, you know? So, but my whole thing was like, well, what is the difference? What differentiates our relationship from this other relationship? Because, you know, you're a kind guy and you're going to do like nice things for women because that's who you are, but what differentiates me from these other relationships? And I think that was like the main thing for me is like, I'm a crazy bitch and I want to be number one.
I feel that.
I'm special, you know? There was like a hierarchy, which I also don't really believe in, but there was just like things
I do. For sure.
You know what it is? But my thing with the hierarchy, and this is what came up for me, it was like, yes, I want you to treat women well. And if I really am poly and there's a hierarchy, then like, what am I asking of you, right? Like, am I asking of you to treat me, like put me in a special box? Is it for my ego that I need to be number one? Or like, what, you know what I mean? What is it about like this fake hierarchy that I'm considering like, no, bitch, I'm different than you, you know? Like, is it an ego-driven thing? Because if I'm really poly, I'm totally okay.
You think that it doesn't matter technically.
Exactly. If I'm really poly, I'm like, I want you to like experience love on the highest level with whoever's in your, you know, your poly circle or whatever the fuck it's called.
Realm.
Your realm. So I just like, that didn't really make sense to me. You know what I mean? And who the fuck am I to tell you, okay, well, I get these privileges and this bitch doesn't.
I totally agree and understand where you're coming from. I am a person, and hierarchy sounds like an aggressive word. I'm not going to lie to you. So let's squash the hierarchy word per se, but I am a main partner poly person. And so I've found that I don't want to share everything with all of my partners. I have no desire to. Like what like even Erica's a main partner for you. And then your other partner is also a main partner. You can have a whole nother type of friendship and it could be serious or whatever, but you probably aren't looking to start a whole nother business with another person again. Right. Have another child with multiple people. There are certain things I don't want to spread out amongst other people. My foundational things, the things that we leave as far as like my imprint in this generation and for my child and like my family and businesses and shit like that. I'm not trying to do that with every single partner that I'm with. No, right?
That's not my thing either.
That's what I'm saying. So when I say main partner, it's like I want to, if there was nobody else, you are that person that I'm also totally okay with. But the other people, they do fill in the gaps, like the 20% for me. And that doesn't mean that they're not important. It usually goes off my capacity, which is if most of my time is with you and I only want to live with one person, or you know what I'm saying? I'm already busy doing these businesses. I literally don't have time to give the same thing I give to my main partner to the other people. And I'm not looking for that. So I don't have to tell people the rules, quote unquote. I'm more so looking for somebody that is on that same energy. Like I only want a main partner as well. And then we have other partners that, you know.
I mean, I get it. I just think like realistically, it's hard to manage those expectations. And then that was my other thing is like what happens when after 6 months, 3 months go by, inevitably, when you spend time with someone, generally the relationship grows, the love grows, the understanding grows. It's like if we work together for 6 months versus 6 years, we're going to have a different level of like intimacy if we're friends. Yeah. So I just was like, for me, I was like, okay, nigga, you want to have this side piece.
How far does it go?
But what is her expectation? Because I don't think it's fair to that other woman that 6 months from now, you're going to be like, okay, nice doing time with you. Now I'm going to go over here. You know, like, it's just like, realistically speaking, I had to put myself in everybody's shoes. And like, maybe if I was like, and there was a time like I was like 20 and I was like, bye. Like I could like share somebody because I didn't want that from them. Yeah. But now in my 30s, like, and if you're fucking with somebody in like a certain age range, inevitably bitches want more. It's just it's in our nature. We want to have we all really crave a secure partner. Yeah. And unless they have like a main partner, they're going to like start to look at you that way. And that's what happened. Mm-hmm. The bitch started falling in love. And I was like, well, I knew that was going to happen because I know you. And then you have to go hurt this person's feelings and say, yeah, I told you not to do that. But it's like how you can't tell someone how to gauge their feelings. In that position.
Yeah. I think that's my difficulty with even finding like the right poly situation for me, because even being the freer person in most relationships, when the other person tries it, my thing is, are you telling them shit that's not true? Are you like,
are you doing it right?
A fantasy world? Yeah.
Are you doing it right?
I'm not going to tell somebody something so they can hang on my every word and just so we could be laid up and romancing and stuff like that. Like, this is real for me. It might only be 5% of like my overall relationships, but that 5% matters to me because I want 100% of everything that I want. So no, I'm not going to say that you mean this if you don't. And yes, you can grow stronger and you should meet my other partners and shit like that. But at the same time, I have a high level of like integrity and honesty. Like if I feel more, I'm going to let you know that. But I also made the decision about how much space I have and I'm clear of that. So I'm looking for those type of traits. Like, did you really assess how much like you're not doing this here? Why would you want more there?
I just don't think it's realistic.
I think it depends on the person. And I know
I just
Orlando.
don't think it's realistic. Like you cannot ask someone to cap their feelings. It's impossible.
No, I don't think you have to.
And then a bitch can be like, and a bitch is so specific, can be like, oh yeah, I get it. Like that person's your main person, or like, oh, I can't fall. Like, okay, no, don't fall in love with you. Got it. But like,
and see, I don't have a problem with someone falling in love with somebody.
Okay,
I hope that you love my partner.
Right.
I hope that you love them and you treat them with the same respect, and that when I'm not with them, that they are cared for, and I don't have to worry with you. So I get where like because also you're like, I don't want nobody falling in love with you.
But it's just like, it's like the logistics. Like, what if we both have emergency on the same day at the same time? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to come to me, and then that person's not going to feel great about it. And I feel bad about it, but it's not because it's a part of the agreement doesn't make it any easier.
These are the facts. These are the facts.
These are the reasons I don't play that shit. No, I'm just kidding.
So you guys did go away for a month, and you went to Mexico for a month, and you that sounds so crazy to me because I don't like people that much. And so I want to know what, not comparing to your relationship from Erica, but what do you think, what are some things that you had to learn to do better, to show up in relationships better? Because I know that we have some story. We don't need to go down that road because we're like fancy women now.
Now we're fancy women now.
We don't need to talk about, all our escapades of men that we have kept around for too long. We don't have to go there, but what are some things that you did have to learn that was different with this one? Because at the end of the day, you did something different, and you are different in this relationship outside of it being the right person. And also having the right relationship with Erica. What are the things that you think contribute to? You have such a free relationship where you're able to be yourself. And I think a lot of people want that. And you're still in a monogamous relationship. And so like people want to hear, how the hell are you feeling free? How do y'all tell each other the truth? But technically, y'all not sleeping with other people, because people be monogamous and they're hiding so much stuff from their partner. They're not telling them their truth. They're not, you like, hey, I want to be a kitten today. Can we try that? Like, people are like, how are you saying these types of things? Me
and Orlando are wild as fuck. Like, we're really out there. I'll just say that there's some really weird shit happening. But when we're both podcasters, and we met podcasting, and so and he was on a sex podcast, and I'm on a podcast. We talk about a lot of shit. So we started there.
Leading with your truth. I'm a number for y'all. Pretty much lead with how she started like this.
Yeah, I didn't like start low and then be like, this is me. I'm like, no, I started on the high end. And honestly, like a month after I met Orlando, we went on vacation together for a week, and I did not know him at all. And I was like, bitch, why would you invite him? What if you don't like him? But it was like really smooth, and it went really great. And so I think I got into this relationship. When I met him, I had just cheated on somebody, and had kind of like dimmed down who I was to like be in that relationship. And like
I remember that guy.
Remember that guy?
He was super conservative. He made me look like I was like,
he was just like a nerd, and he wanted to be ready for me, but he wasn't. And so I cheated. And I think because that was not something that's not the type of person I want to be. I want to be an honest person. If I'm being such an honest person, a free person, that would require me to lead with that. And so after I did that to that poor guy,
sorry to that man.
Sorry to that man. Adventure Bay. I decided that I wasn't going to do that anymore. And so I met Orlando literally like a month later. Yourself. And I was like, this is it, nigga.
As yourself.
And he came the same,
I will say that I've had much better dating experience now that I just pretty much live my truth. And and a lot of people say like being a podcaster or being in entertainment period, it makes it more difficult to date. But honestly, it does weed out the people that either fuck with what you got going on or you don't. And
period. It's like, cause it's kind of like being a stripper, like you can't like be a stripper and then like, I want you to get a new job. It's like, nigga,
I was already stripping.
So yeah. And it's like, you have to support, the movement, or else what's the point? But when me and Orlando went to Mexico for 30 days, it was like a test, because after Mexico, he moved in with me. So we had been kind of talking about it, and he had like left a bag at my house, and I was like, "Why did you leave your shit here?" He was like,
Sex in the City.
Literally, he was like, "I'm moving in," and I was like, "No, you're not."
How do you think your tantra practice and learning has made you grow in different areas of your relationships and made them either embrace more of their unconventionalness, or just even embrace yourself? Like, is it more of a personal journey, or what has it been for you?
I think I really strongly believe that healthy relationships all start with a personal journey. You have, like, I chose to be honest about who I was, and then I met my person.
Yeah.
And I think that choice led me to my person, because a lot of times people come in, 50%, and then they want to be like, okay, this is it. Or can you handle it? Instead of just starting at 100. And I think that's the part you get fucked up. You want to, censor shit because it doesn't seem acceptable, instead of just going all in. And I think Tantra has like definitely enhanced my relationship with myself, which has enhanced my relationship with my partner. But there's a lot of things that are just basic shit that you already know, but then you find the scientific backing to it. And it's just like talking to yourself gently and talking to somebody else gently. It's like really about self-acceptance, so that you can accept somebody else and just be like, well, you're not going to show up. My biggest lesson in this relationship is that, like, my lover and my partner is not like the Ken Barbie. Like, I can't pick out exactly what I want and then be like, yep, that's it. You know, like it's like you fall in love with a human.
Nothing's perfect.
With
At the
flaws.
end of the day, nothing's perfect.
And like sometimes he's gonna wear an outfit you don't like that fucking crop top, and sometimes he's gonna like wear those fucking Crocs that you fucking hate. You know what I mean? But like at the end of the day, I love this person, and I realize that he's a human, and so am I. And so I can show up as my flawed self, and I accept him as his flawed self, because literally when I was in Mexico with him, we did mushrooms. And that was like my first time realizing, like, oh my God, you're just a person. You're just
You're not perfect.
Yeah,
you're a person.
Like, you're a person. Fuck.
I think we do that. And I would say probably women, probably more so than men, where we romanticize this thing. And it's like, we don't want these hiccups. We just want just you to love on me and feed me grapes.
And like come perfectly
like,
curated.
But we don't even love ourselves that way. So it makes it very difficult. Like even just how, and I've always loved this about you and Erica, that it's always like, fuck it. That's not me. I'm organized, fun as fuck. And I'm not. But it's also, it's certain times for certain things. And when I need certain energy, I know who to call, who's like, okay, they are wild and free. This is the energy I need here. And I know that people call me when they're like, you know what, I know I need this to get done. I need to depend on somebody. I'm going to call Samaya, and even embracing that. And so I've made more jokes about it versus before, when I was truly uncomfortable with being like more organized and stuff like that. Despite all the shit that I will try, I was still the very organized friend, even being more gentle with myself. And, I went through the tantric with Devi through their program, and it was so triggering for me. Yeah. And that I have to actually do it again, which I've shied away from. But
it's therapy.
It absolutely is therapy. And it just stirs up. I know a lot of people think like tantric is just like sex and things like that.
Some boo-boo shit, yeah.
Yeah, but sensuality does not mean sex. And so I feel like if anything, it just stirred up all the things in you. And it's like, can you see the beauty in this imperfection? And I feel like that's a level of like adulting that I have no problem with getting to. Like I enjoy embracing the imperfections and the flaws and all of those things, because it's like, none of us are. And no matter how good you try to do, like, there's annoying shit about all of us, but it's just like, you realize like this is beneficial. Like even somebody that I used to date, this guy, and he was just like all over the place and very airy, and I hated it. But he worked with kids. And so they love that shit, because kids don't want to be organized. No. They don't like my organized fun. So it's just like people, whatever might annoy you, they need that for that, which is also why like you don't want somebody to be your whole world or whatever.
Well, you got to get out of your comfort zone. Like Orlando is very immature, and he's a big ass kid, and sometimes I'm like, shut the fuck up and sit down, and then I'm like, bitch, you're a bitch. I'm like, what's your problem? He's having fun. Like,
your partner is your friend.
Yeah, yes. And for the tantra, it's like it can stir up some shit, but it also provides you with like tools and medicine. It's like it's going to stir up some shit because that's necessary to grow, but then it's going to give you the right medicine and the right tools to be able to like clean out those things and like make sure you've gone to the root, cleaned out all of the pus and all of the nasty shit, and then like healed it properly. Versus a lot of times we're just covering shit up and we're moving on, and that's a like road to disaster.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How is it working? So now you have a wife and you have a male partner, and you work with both of your partners. And then you could see people hopping on the internet creating new podcasts every day. Or they're like, oh, we should start a show. Give us a couple things that we need to think about if you're trying to go into business with somebody that you know. Or you could pick just like things that like that you just had to even realize.
I don't know. Like we didn't, I don't think when we started it, we had this clear vision that we were starting a business. We were just like two girls, like, let's start the babysitters club. Like, you know, it just sounded like a cool thing to do, you know? Yeah. But you know what? Honestly, I wouldn't have
at least in the last 2 years, because honestly, you guys have grown and you guys have manifested together. So many unique things. And I love the fact that they don't have limitations to them. And it's just like, no, we can do this. I know I loved seeing that from the outside looking in. So is there anything that you appreciate? I mean, she right here listening, so you might as well tell her.
I think, you know what, like, I appreciate all of it because there is a level of intimacy that we have that we can be completely transparent and honest. And it does require that we pour, you know, sometimes there's it goes back and forth and there's an imbalance because we've gotten extremely busy and it isn't the fucking babysitters club. It's a fucking business. And sometimes that's overwhelming and it's scary and there's money involved. And, you know, sometimes people I think it makes us care for our friendship more intentionally, and really kind of pour into that intentionally. And we've had to be more intentional about, okay, like this is business time and this is friendship time because we don't want the lines to be too blurred because, you know, like inevitably things are going to happen in business. We've made poor decisions, you know, like there's a lot of learning. So I think I would not rather be on this fucking road with anybody else than my fucking friend. Yeah. And, you know, even same with Orlando, like he gets on my nerves, he fucks up and it's like, it can be so difficult because it's like, I want to fucking fire you, but I live with you. You know what I mean? But it's also like, who the fuck else is going to travel with us to 5 cities, listen to us bitch and whine, you know what I mean? And then like at the end we'll be happy. And, you know, like honestly, in the most non-sexual way, like me and Erica's ability to create together, like makes me horny. Like
I feel that,
you know what I mean? Spiritually,
I do.
Creating,
I feel that spiritually.
like it's like having non-sex with my friend.
It's real intimacy.
And birthing lots of babies and like in a healthy relationship really gets me going. Like I really love the things that we've birthed together, and I couldn't imagine doing that with anybody else. So it just like that's seeing how we can create has heightened our ability to create and has like pushed our momentum forward.
It's a turn on.
It is a turn on. Like,
hey, you guys, I hope you're enjoying the show. I just wanted to stop by and let you guys know that all 3 of our masterclasses this month are available to Patreon members for free. Yes, you heard that correctly. Our mouth masterclass, our dick writing 101 course, as well as our masturbation and squirting class are all available on Patreon. You guys, Patreon is an amazing way to support me as well as the creatives that make this show possible. But don't worry, in exchange, we're giving you guys some amazing content. If you love my show, then you must join me over there. Outside of getting the masterclasses for free, you'll also get a chance to watch our bonus show that comes out each month called Boats and Hoes, where I sit down with my friends and do an episode of the show based off what's going on with us in real life. We also have a show on there dedicated just to sex. It's called Just Another Sex Podcast. And you get to hear me teach and talk to others as they learn in real time, on top of the other 250 classes and workshops that are already on there from my teachings as a sexual educator. This show is a resource for you to learn from my experiences. And though it has no cost for you, I just need you to know that signing up for Patreon goes so much farther than you think. I know that you may not join the content every single month, but think of it like a gym membership. It'll always be there whenever you're ready, and it does so much good whether you know it or not. I appreciate all the support that you guys give me in all the ways that you do. And now, back to the show.
I feel like all the people that I work with, and the people that are my friends that have even just stepped in, like whenever I'm like, okay, I don't have somebody for this, and like, I'll do it until you find someone and stuff like that. So I've worked with almost all of my friends at some point, right? Their ability to love me has literally changed my life, because it's like all the things I know about myself, and bitch, all the things you have seen, and you still treat me like this. And it's so beautiful. It honestly just inspires me to be better, and it fuels me. Despite all the things I thought I was like lacking in life, it's just like, I feel like they have overcompensated for the things that the reasons that I thought I couldn't get to certain points are like, oh, you know, like I don't compare anymore. Like I don't take things personal. Like the way that they love me has changed me. It's made me better. And the way that they love me frees up my mind to continue creating. And it's just non-romantic relationships are the cheat code. And at this point, I think they're the most unconventional type of relationship. Is that if you don't get anything else from this episode, because I just feel like we're going down memory lane and letting people hear like just some of you by yourself. What I want you guys to get from this episode is that unconventional relationships can change the game, and that you do not have to center your world around the romantic parts. And honestly, even with your partner, whether you have one or you're looking for one, the people that have their own life or their own setup of pouring into themselves already, it makes for a better relationship because you're not as codependent as you think you are. Like it's sexy. You have individuality. Like the thing that they're attracted to you for, you still have it. Like you have a life. So
loving someone who loves themselves, like makes you love yourself more.
And it's less work.
Orlando loves himself so much. It reminds me, I'm like, I always step up my game. Like, what the fuck? You've been in the mirror for 20 minutes, my nigga. I'm like, I need to go look in the mirror and tell myself.
Give me 5 minutes. I'll be ready.
Yeah, I'm like, damn. It's a reminder.
So we are going to transition to our sex tip of the day.
Okay.
So if you guys don't know, my first business is Sexual Essentials, where I teach people how to create the intimate life that they want. So we are going to talk about, you've been on my Patreon a few times for a multitude of things. Actually, for a few things, you're on there for sex positions of the day. Demonstrating some.
Oh yeah, with Erica,
with Erica with that
thing.
The bar and
Forgot
all
about
that. You were on there with Medina from Cocktails, and we had a dirty talk conversation. Where we talked about different ways that you can dirty talk in the bedroom. I believe that you were talking about picking up somebody and role playing about them like being married and then they were like fucking with you or something. Y'all got to tune into it. She was good. But the new one I want to talk about today with you is pet play and role play. Because
I'm an expert. I'm not an expert at anything but role play.
When I met you, I was like, you should be a kitten. You should be like, that just seems like you were always like so like dainty and like feminine and like sensual and like, you know, all your movements and stuff. And I was like, you would make a good sexy ass cat. Like, and tell us more about your exploration with that and just role play in general.
Well, first of all, I don't know if you guys know, but Samaya is a sexual visionary. She can paint a picture and like really arouse the imagination. And when you did that, I was like, you know what? You're right. She was actually the first person who like made me realize I really want to have an MMF because she like laid it out really beautifully in my imagination. And then she also laid out me being a cat, a sexy kitten in a role play. And I was like, you're right. I do need a diamond collar and I do need to be petted. You're right. She was like, yeah, imagine if you're just walking into a rich ass house and you have like a beautiful diamond collar and you get petted and like meow. And I was like, yep, you're right. I have a lot of feline energy. That's why I don't really fuck with cats. And then recently I found out that like my Egyptian goddess is the cat goddess.
Really?
But you know what? I think it's just like a beautiful way to really play and also have threesomes.
I feel that.
You don't really have to do the thing. You could just pretend to do the thing and it's equally as good. In my relationship,
Real talk.
We call it the fantasy field.
Okay. I like that. That sounds so safe. God bless you.
We go to the fantasy field and then we play. And so we could like, let's go to the fantasy field tonight.
I like that. That makes it a safe place because it's like, you know, whatever happens after we say this, like chill.
Yeah. And then we like, you know, we don't talk about it in the daylight, but it's just like the fantasy field. And you go wherever your mind wants to go. And sometimes that includes like, including porn. And we could just like cuckold, but it's just porn or bringing it like that fucking silicone dick that you brought me.
Oh, the one from the dick sucking class?
Yeah, the one that
I told you it's stick. That thing is multi-purpose.
Yeah, you know. And
especially in the shower.
The shower, the other day, I put it on the mirror and like we were in the bathroom. He bent me over and like turned the lights off so it was pitch black.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
So it's like sensory deprivation. Yes. You added in a toy.
Yes. It was like a male, female, but it was just that suction dick.
Yours is better, babe. No competition.
So it heightens your imagination, and it allows you to visit places that maybe you wouldn't be comfortable actually visiting. Because that's another thing I've discovered too, is like sometimes fantasies are just fantasies. They're not really meant to be like go past that. And you can get just as fulfilled by going there in your imagination versus like actually doing it.
Absolutely. So MMF, you guys, is a male. You know I'm gonna get the comment. Male, female threesome. We are not talking about the one where the guys are interacting. In this one, there's nothing wrong with that. We're not talking about an aggressive one. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what we're talking about. I have found that like in a relationship, I need to be every form of myself. And I feel like I have not had a relationship yet that has a safe fantasy field. I really like that word. I'm gonna have to use that.
I like it too.
And so I did used to have a partner where like we would role play, but it was more so like going out in public and doing something, or like acting like you don't know each other and pick each other up and shit like that. But whatever happens next, I definitely want to like write down more, like add more to my bucket list. Cause like my sexual bucket list now, like we knocked off so much stuff. There's only a couple things left on there. Like my all girl threesome and my male, female threesome, I think is like all that's left.
I'm sure you'll find some more shit.
Yeah. I just got to make a little time. I just got to make a little time to make my list. I definitely want to get into more role play. I don't think the pet play is for me.
Really? Because you painted that beautiful picture of me being a kitten.
That was your energy.
Okay.
You really brought that to like I literally could see you like dressed up in like a full attire and like somebody getting turned on and they don't know why like this bitch is acting like a cat, but like it's doing something for me.
I really want like a really nice pair of ears and a tail and this collar. I've been like,
oh, you should get a butt plug that's a tail.
Yeah, maybe. That seems intense, but maybe.
Well, you a little
okay. Little anal training.
Yeah. I believe in you.
Thank you. Thank you for believing in my asshole.
I do believe in your asshole. I think your asshole can do anything that it desires.
I mean, it's done some things that I didn't think could be done. So
really,
yeah,
you're so small.
I know.
Just talk about offline. I'm all this ass, and I'm like, yo, hey, relax.
Yeah.
Thank God for medium dicks, because the large ones they don't need to go back there. I definitely want to get more into.
It's a fact, but yeah.
I am encouraging you guys to, if you have a partner or next time you have a partner, please talk to them about what are some of your fantasies like that you will role play for. For me, there are certain things that give me anxiety in real life or that have hurt me in real life that I don't mind fantasizing about because it's a consensual and safe way for me to experience that thing.
I actually feel like it's a nice, if you've had a bad experience with something, it's a nice way to rewrite the memory.
Absolutely.
And redo the trauma by like creating a new experience around it.
I also like combining it with like some sex magic and healing. So like even like the word daddy for me is like a problem in the bedroom. But I have a desire to like go off and be calling somebody daddy in the bedroom. Now I haven't found like that safe thing yet, like to do that, but I need somebody that can stick to the role. Like I think that's the thing.
Right,
for
you
me.
have to stay in character.
You can't be laughing and giggling and shit.
Sometimes you
like,
will and it's funny.
Yes.
But like
but also can you commit?
We're like such serious people. You have to be in your role. We have a script.
My organized fun, okay? But I'm like, it's more so the fact, are you going to do it all out? Like to the fact that it really arouses me, like in my imagination. Yeah. Like I've done the server bartender thing and like had the outfit, had the tray, like literally acting like, oh yeah, hell yeah.
I could see you ordering some shit on Amazon. I got all the things we need.
I took it from work.
That's
Thank
smart,
you, Longhorn.
actually. That's so smart.
Thank you. But, go all the way through it. And I think that, I think a lot of people want something different, but they don't necessarily want to sleep with someone else. And so if you're the unconventional, it doesn't have to be non-monogamy.
You don't have to bring in a third person if you could just become that person.
Before we did, you just become that person. Look, bitch, put on a wig. I'm a new bitch today.
Yeah, exactly.
And my, in a past relationship before we got into threesomes, which we ended up having really great threesome chemistry. Like I feel like our report card was like A. Like we were really good at that. But we got really good at it, trying it out role play wise, which was, and it was so crazy because that shit would turn me on like crazy. And you would think that you don't want to share this person. And then you find out in the fantasy that you were really okay with it. And it also gives you a chance to implement like some aftercare and figuring out what you need afterwards to feel safe. And you know what I'm saying? Like you really get to practice like imaginary.
It's definitely mental preparation.
Yeah, I'm with it. So, you guys can check the link below to sign up for Patreon to see all the beautiful videos that Milah has been a part of on Patreon. We've been around for each other for a while now. I love that. And before I let you go, we are going to wrap up with the spiritual tip of the day. The spiritual tip of the day is where we just take a couple minutes to give a little bit of knowledge on something spiritual, whether it's like, I know a lot of people hear like, oh, my higher self or like this crystal or the full moon or witchy shit. And a lot of people are not realizing there's so much energy and healing in spirituality. It's not a replacement for your religion, but it encompasses it as well. And I think a lack of that, some of that is just because people don't understand. So we just take a little moment to say something that might be spiritual for you to understand. And so you put it in your pocket and use it. So, on you guys' show, you guys were the first ones to pull a tarot card with me. I don't even have it up, but it was a really good card the last time I was on your guys' show. And that tarot card started changing my life. It helped strengthen my intuition with myself. So you guys, please make sure that you check out Good Moms, Bad Choices. They have an amazing curated show, not just for moms, but for women, period. That really changed my life. But today's spiritual tip of the day is God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And I just wanted that to be a word because like you said so many times, and you guys have mentioned it in your book, this was not on purpose. You guys meeting each other or even just going after, oh, we're going to create this business or anything like that. And you guys were already destined for all the things that you guys have done now before you guys even knew it. When you guys felt the most unequipped of your life was when you made that connection. And I think that people are hesitating and they're looking for it to be perfect and they're looking for it to make sense but there's a time and place for the organization and there's a time and place for just going with the flow. And I have watched you guys so much and just learned and been like, okay, I gotta be free, or like Milah and them coming, y'all relax. I'm talking to self, like
shut up. Now I gotta be free.
I'm trying to be. We
know you, bitch. Yes, I know you. So good luck.
And it feels good to know that as well. But always just being reminded that you are where you're supposed to be. Follow the stuff that's within you, because even if it doesn't feel like it's right, it's going to go where it needs to go. And you guys were already qualified again. And I will always brag on my friends. They have a book, you guys, they are published authors. Like it has a cover and like it's hard. It's not, no shade. Like the first book I did was like a PDF. Like we all got to start somewhere, but like that shit is hardcover. It knocks. It's in the library at the Content House. Like they have a retreat. It's amazing. First of all, they have an amazing retreat for women if you want to just like go shake your titties and be naked and nude and swim and eat like vegan food in Costa Rica. And
it's regular food. It's just healthy.
All right, well, fine. It's healthy food, but you feel good when you leave, and you can try shrooms even like on just like not as like a drug. Let me get high, but like under the watch of certain people and do it spiritually. It's an amazing experience. Their show is amazing. What else y'all do? And they have a podcast studio. So they are OGs in the game. And I'm always here for giving you your flowers.
Thank you.
And letting you know that I'm super proud of you.
I appreciate that.
And thank you for just being transparent and coming back on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoy watching you grow. This is obviously your Oprah. This is where you're supposed to be. I'm very proud of you, and I'm so proud podcasting brought me you and our friendship.
Look, it did. Look, who even knew that sucking a little dick would bring people together? Okay,
sucking a little suction cup dick.
Look at that. Look at that. So please tell the folks where they can find you or what you have coming up, so we can support.
Well, we have a retreat. We have some spaces open on a retreat in August 2024. We have a live show in LA October 21st. So if you're in the LA area, pull up. Okay. It's quite the production. It's a really good time. You can find my podcast, Good Moms, Bad Choices, on all podcast platforms. You can find me at Milah, MILAH _map. And yeah, come check us out.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure that you check the links below. I've been getting messages about like discount codes and stuff. Listen to the ads. Check the links below. Like all of that stuff is definitely there. And don't forget that these shows are absolutely free to you. But it just takes a second to either just repost a reel or just tell somebody, share it in your group chat. Subscribe to the Patreon. It's amazing content. They also have one as well. Hell, I think we've been on there too. It's so much content out there, you guys. So support the creatives, the mamas, and make sure you check out their book. The link will be below. Thank you guys so much. I love you, and I will see you next week.
Bye.